Sunday Night Football, huge NFC matchup. Detroit looked amazing in Dan Campbell's debut as the OC against Washington, so take it with a grain of salt. Taking on an Eagles team that offense could not do much, but the more well-rounded team. Philly's offense, for the most part, has not been the greatest. Like they've had some good offensive performances, but for the most part, it's been their defense that's really helped them out. And I think against this Lions team, that's going to be able to is going to be able to play really well. I think the Lions get to 7-3, a huge win against the Eagles. This was the matchup a lot of people thought last year was going to be the NFC Championship. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you are having a great day. And with no further ado, let's get into the Week 11 picks, which is crazy to say that we're on Week 11, but yeah. So let's start off with tonight's game. Jets at the Patriots. I'm going New England. I mean, they're the better team, and there's really not much to say. Like, New England is just purely the better team. They most likely are going to move on to 9-2 unless the Jets pull off some miraculous miracle, which we saw the Dolphins do last week, but I think that was more so, the Bills playing down a competition, not really the Dolphins, proving that they're a better team than they really are. And I think the Pats get their eighth consecutive win and move to 9-2. Moving on to the first ever Spain game, Madrid, Spain, between Washington and Miami. And I mean, this is a game of two teams that are having very bad years. But I'm going to go with Miami. They showed me last week that this team is rallying right behind Mike McDaniel. Like everybody, I think, earlier in the year, I think, kind of said, well, they're probably going to fire Mike McDaniel. He doesn't really have the locker room. The team just is not really getting behind him. But you look at that win, after they fired the GM Chris Greer, they looked pretty good. The offense was moving effectively. The defense, which was really the surprise, like the offense has been getting better. The defense has been bad, and they looked really good after trading away Jalen Phillips. And I think they continue before getting on their bye. They moved to 4-7. And I think they have like the Saints and Jets in their next two games. So they could be 6-7. Um, and looking a lot better. Do they want to win these games? Probably not, but when you're taking on bad teams, you kind of have to win. And I'm sorry, Washington, but a sixth straight y'all loss before the bye week. Maybe they get something going later in the year, but tough season for the Commanders. Moving on to the 1 o'clock slate, Houston at Tennessee. Titans off the bye. Maybe they show some spirited effort against the division rival, but I'm picking Houston to get to 500. They'd be 5-5, and with the way the Jazz are playing, Houston could maybe take that second spot and finish the year really good. I don't know about maybe the playoffs, but finish really good. And I mean, Tennessee, maybe they come out in a spirited fight, but sorry about that. But I don't really see Tennessee. We saw the first time these two teams played, it was a blowout, and I think it'll be more of the same in Houston. 5-5, and really could finish the year strong after starting off 0-3 and not really looking like a very good team. Moving on, Chicago at Minnesota. The Vikings hoping J.J. McCarthy plays more like he did against the Lions and not the Ravens. But Chicago back-to-back wins pretty impressively against not the greatest teams, but against in games where like older regimes in Chicago probably would have lost them. And as much as I do want to go with Chicago, I feel like Minnesota is going to come out and pull off the upset. Like, I feel like after last week's loss, everybody's going to be down on the Vikings. And I think against a division rival like the Lions, I mean, I could see Chicago winning the game, moving to 7-3, and making a playoff push. But I think Minnesota could um, get the win and keep themselves in this close knit division race, which is really, really close after Green Bay lost. Moving on to another division game. Bengals at the Steelers. Cincy off the bye. Still not Joe Burrow, but his practice window was opened up. So, taking on a Pittsburgh team that looked lifeless against the Chargers. They looked like they weren't even trying out there. Back home against a Bengals team that it's been a lifeless year. I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh. I could see Cincinnati pulling off the upset, like they did, back earlier in the year against Pittsburgh at home. But I just think Pittsburgh's going to be ready for the Steelers. And with the Ravens creeping up, Pittsburgh's going to have to beat the teams that they're better than. Because if they lose this game and the Ravens beat the Browns, they'll be tied. And I'm pretty sure with the tiebreaker, Baltimore won't be in first place. So I think Pittsburgh needs to beat the teams they're supposed to, and they get the win. Moving on, Chargers at the Jags. Two interesting teams. Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago were 4-1. It looked like maybe a serious contender. You lose 3 of the next 4, including a destruction loss last week against Houston, where you're up 19 and then you give up 26 unanswered. Meanwhile, the Chargers 7-3, injured everywhere on the offense, but the defense keeping them in, and I'm gonna trust the Chargers on the road. I think LA continues to play well. I don't know if they're a serious threat to win it all, but this defense really gives them a high ceiling. It's just Jacksonville has been so inconsistent. I'm sorry, but I just can't pick Jacksonville after how bad of a loss that was last week. Moving on, Panthers at the Falcons. Two very weird teams. Like Atlanta has been close in all 4 of these losses they've had on this 4-game losing streak. They just haven't been able to get it done because the offense and the coaching has been pretty bad. Taking on a Panthers team that pull off the upset against the Packers, you're thinking finally Carolina is going to be maybe not a contender, but maybe back to being a team that can be a winner in the league, and then they lose to a bad Saints team. And honestly, I'm not really sure who to pick. Like, it's kind of like which team isn't going to play down. I'm not really sure who to pick. I guess I'll go with the Panthers. I'm not really that confident in Carolina, but Atlanta has just been confusing me, and I could see the Falcons winning this game, but unless their offense, somehow turns into like a Super Bowl contender's offense, I think Carolina can squeak by and get the win. Moving on to Bucks at the Bills. 2 teams coming off frustrating losses, more so for Buffalo than Tampa Bay, because the Bucks lost to a really good Patriots team. Buffalo lost to the Dolphins. Both are 6-3, hoping to get the season back to going. Both have defensive issues that need to be helped out. And I'm gonna go with the Bills at home. Though I could see Baker and this Bucks team playing well. I just trust Buffalo at home to get the win and to move on to be 7-3. Hoping maybe they can try to sneak back into this AFC East race, even though it is a long shot because of that loss to the Dolphins last week. Moving on, Packers at the Giants. Jackson Dart is not playing, out with a concussion. So Jameis Winston, who was promoted to QB2 because Russ was demoted after his bad performance, filling in for Dart last week, taking on a Packers team. No Tucker Kraft, no Elton Jenkins. Really a confusing team. It's really a battle of weird teams, and I'm going to trust the Packers. I think this defense, kind of like the Chargers, their defense gives them enough of a ceiling to where as long as the offense plays just enough, they can do it. And honestly, I mean, I could see the Giants with new coach, backup quarterback playing inspired to pull off the upset. I just think the Packers aren't going to lose three in a row, and I think the Giants lose. Moving on to the 4 o'clock slate, Seattle at LA, a huge NFC West matchup, a huge NFC matchup because winner could be in sole possession of that number one seed with a straight path to getting it. Obviously, these two teams will play later on in the season, so a huge test for both teams. I'm going with the Rams. While I have liked Seattle, their offense has been amazing. Their defense has been phenomenal. I'm just trusting the veteran-led team in the Rams. While I do think Seattle can win this game and even maybe will, I'm trusting Stafford, Adams, McVay, and this Rams team that, I mean, has looked amazing. I think they get a huge win, and they're 8-2. Moving on to the Niners at the Cardinals. Um, Another NFC West matchup, back-to-back weeks. Like last week, it was Seattle hosting Arizona and the Rams at the Niners. Now it's Seattle and LA and the Niners and the Cardinals. So, Jacoby Brissett against Mac Jones. It's a battle of the backups. I'm going to go with San Fran. Don't really have much confidence in the Cardinals as a whole. Like, they look completely down. Now, maybe it was Seattle's really good on defense, and maybe against a battered Niners team, Brissett and this offense can play well. It was revealed Marvin Harrison Jr. is out because he's getting an appendectomy surgery. Not something to monitor, but I'm just going to trust Kyle Shanahan and this Niners team to continue to win these games against teams they should beat. And they moved to 7-4. And they're still keeping their playoff hopes alive. Moving on, Chiefs at the Broncos. Denver's won 7 consecutive. They're on a Chiefs team off the bye. Have won 5 of their last 7 games before that bye week. And I'm going to pick KC. I think Denver is bound to slip up. Yeah, I was talking about it earlier in the year with the Eagles. Philly was playing too much. What's the word? The Eagles were playing just like too close with these teams that they were bound to lose, and they did. And I think Denver, their offense, not putting up really anything in the first half and then coming alive in the third and fourth quarter, I think that's going to hurt them against a really good Chiefs team. Now, Denver's defense is phenomenal, but I think KC on the road, off the bye, because Andy Reid doesn't lose off the bye. I think they have to win. But on Ravens at the Browns, Cleveland still going with Dylan Gabriel. And we saw the Browns defense did get Baltimore's offense back in week 2. So like it was a struggle for Baltimore to move the ball around. It was just Cleveland's bad offense really helped them out, and I think that really does it this time. Like I think the Ravens, who are more healthier on the offensive side now than they were in week 2, with Ricard and Likely back, and this defense has looked better the past couple of weeks after you bring in Alohi Gilman and allow Hamilton to be more closer to the line of scrimmage, bring in Draymond Jones, and everybody's mostly healthy. I think the Ravens, once again, against this Browns team, that, if they just had a competent offense, they could be a serious threat, but I don't see it. I think the Ravens get to 500. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, Lions at the Eagles. Another huge NFC matchup. Detroit looked amazing in Dan Campbell's debut as the OC. It was against Washington. Taking with a grain of salt. Taking on an Eagles team that offense could not do much. Defense really stepped up. But I think Detroit, the more well-rounded team, the more connected team. Like Philly's offense, for the most part, has not been the greatest. Like they've had some good offensive performances, but for the most part, it's been their defense that's really helped them out. And I think against this Lions team that's going to be able to um is going to be able to play really well. I think the Lions get to 7-3, a huge win against the Eagles. This was the match, but a lot of people thought last year was going to be the NFC Championship game, and I think the Lions get the win. And then moving on to Sunday Night Football, Cowboys off the bye, taking on the Raiders. Two teams that have, two teams that have been very, very bad. We'll see Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson in their debut as the Cowboys. They on a Raiders team that is just trying to get something going. But I'm gonna trust Dallas at on the road though. Just I trust this Dallas offense to play well, and that Vegas defense. The Vegas defense is not very good, but that Vegas offense has not been good. And then you trade away your best weapon in Jacoby Myers. I think Dallas gets their fourth win and keeps those slim playoff hopes still technically alive. But those are my picks for week 11. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. But see y'all and bye.